a new favorite Care Bears movie, which is not a statement I ever thought I would be making, and yet here we are. So, we're going to chit-chat a little bit today. Well, I'm going to talk at you about Care Bears Adventures in Wonderland. This movie came out in 1987. Before we get any farther, hello, I'm Bailey. Welcome to my channel where I yap. If you're watching this, you're my friend now, whether I sent it to you or you just found it in the wild. Welcome. Make Green Baby look at you. She's in her... This is from the Birthstone collection. It was like the diamond one, but I like it because I call it her alien outfit. She has the gun from Courtney's like space outfit. I just don't have it in her hand because she can't really hold it that well. And she's holding the microphone, you know? And I'm just going to say this part up front. If I reach 500 followers here on YouTube, I will write a fan fiction connecting the first Care Bears movie to the second Care Bears movie. I don't think I need to connect it to this third one because it kind of just exists and doesn't claim... I mean, yeah, it is a sequel, but it's not claiming to be a part of the same lore. So, let's talk about Care Bears Adventures in Wonderland. Yay! Ugh, cut out that yay. This movie came out in 1987 and flopped. It got a theatrical release, which surprises me, but because of the floppage, the next movie, Nutcracker, was released on TV. This movie got mixed, but mostly bad reviews. I didn't see as much for complaining about merchandising, and I don't know if it's because it had less merchandising or if people were just used to it by now. The movie obviously starts with a song. That's how we always start. And somehow it's lower quality than New Generation, but that might just be the one getting put onto YouTube, that there wasn't really a very wide release onto DVD. So this is probably VHS and we'll take it. But it does look more like a Saturday morning cartoon than it does like a movie that would go in theaters. There's a moment in the song though where it kind of implies that Cheer Bear and Braveheart Lion live together. I have nothing else to say after that. Also, only the cousins are shown owning and operating businesses. Is this a ruling class and a merchant class? Is Braveheart Lion considered part of the ruling class because he's the de facto leader of the cousins? I don't know, and I'm thinking too hard about it, so we're gonna move on. Grumpy Bear is asleep, and the White Rabbit keeps appearing in his mirror, but he's too sleepy to notice. He was exactly the right pick. I love Grumpy Bear. Finally, the rabbit escapes from the mirror and runs everybody over. He was looking for Swift-Heart Rabbit. I guess they're related, because he needs to find Princess Peach, or an evil wizard is going to take over Wonderland, and force everybody to obey him. The Care Bears and cousins agree to help him look as long as a terrible song plays during the montage, and we get a cameo from the moose from Care Bears movie to A New Generation. Looking all over the world gives them the chance to be racist. Finally, we find somebody who knows a girl who looks like the person in this picture. It's a girl named Alice, and she thinks she's just too unspecial to ever do anything. We just hear her complaining about how she's not special. She should join Glee Club because being a part of something special makes you special. Grumpy, Swift-Heart, and the White Rabbit rainbow in so they can take a look at her. The White Rabbit says out loud where she can hear that he isn't sure if she's special enough for what they need. A dick. But she is the only person in the world that looks like the princess. They beg her to pretend to be the princess and come with them. At which point, Tenderheart, Good Luck Bear, Braveheart Lion, and Lots of Heart declare that they're coming too. Now that I've seen this movie, Nutcracker makes more sense. Like, I know it feels like a weird jump from the first two to this one, but having seen 1, 2, 4, 3 makes 4 make sense. They decide to travel via mirror, and it rejects the bunnies and Grumpy. This was the unnecessarily scary moment. And because the mirror broke, it doesn't work now, and I guess we can't use any other mirror for some reason. But now the wizard knows that they're coming, so the bunnies are gonna, and Grumpy are gonna have to find another way in. I'll give you a hint, they take the rabbit hole. We get another unnecessarily scary moment. Grumpy is hungry because he didn't get to eat breakfast. He complains for the whole movie, and a scary face appears out of the food. Once they land, they set off to find Alice. And we get another song. This time it's sung by a bug. And, a guy juggles his own eyes. I don't know what to say after that. This might be the scariest Care Bear movie. the Scare Bear movie. I'm sure there is some edgy Scare Bear movie somewhere. I'm devastated to tell you the villain is yet another racist caricature. Tweedledee and Tweedledum are his henchmen. We learn that the princess was dumped in the Jabberwocky's cave. And also that he knows the plan and says that girl, Alice, can never ever reach the palace. There's a caterpillar that's directing this really fast traffic and his signs are unhelpful, so they rainbow bridge over the traffic to go talk to him. And that once the traffic stops, can have a conversation, and they learn that the entrance was right there. And the caterpillar tells them to stay off the checkerboard, but can't be heard over the traffic. So guess what they do? They walk on the checkerboard. Tweedledee and Tweedledum are here and they act weird and then control giant robots that attack the crew. They say Care Bear Countdown instead of Care Bear Stare. And I don't understand that decision, but I am choosing to say that it's because they're being inclusive of the cousins. They find Grumpy! Gay. And then a tree starts playing techno. It's the Cheshire Cat. And he has chowder animation, which I thought was so creative at the time. Didn't know that this had been done 20 years before. Chowder made me dizzy, and the Cheshire Cat kind of does too. He sings a song to them telling them, don't forget to use your head. They realize, oh, we gotta find the Mad Hatter. The crew is trying to find their way. Grumpy somehow ends up wearing a pirate captain hat and starts leading the way because he thinks he's a pirate captain now. And everyone's like, oh, you're wearing one of the Mad Hatter's hats. Okay. This is helpful then. He left us clues. Alice asks what the princess does and is very upset to find out that she gives speeches and she's not special enough. So Tenderheart gives her a pep talk. This feels like fishing for compliments. Wouldn't you know it, Alice gets caught by Tweedledee and Tweedledum. They had to be reminded of what their jobs were and threatened with a tarantula, but they did it. She gets taken to a dark room where the wizard taunts her and then sings a song at her about how Wonderland is too odd and needs order and he's gonna control it and make it make sense. And this shot happens. Hello? So then Alice tries to run away and ends up in the court where the Queen of Hearts is. And then I started wondering, does the story of Alice in Wonderland not exist for the world that Alice lives in? We're gonna go with it doesn't. Because otherwise they would say, hey, it's like that book. And in Nutcracker, they do kind of, they acknowledge it when she's an adult, not when she's a child. I gotta stop thinking. Also, why are the protagonists always blonde? The good children are always blonde. The Queen of Hearts knows Alice isn't her daughter, but is playing along and is going to crown her so that the evil wizard does not become. This is a problem I just have with children's media, is there's so many children being crowned king or queen when I think they should stay princess or prince. I really do. I appreciate, though, that the queen recognizes immediately that Alice isn't her daughter. Take notes, Princess and the Pauper. Lucky puts on a Sherlock hat and is now a detective. Alice gets a makeover, which includes Tenderheart and a dress. He should wear it for the rest of the movie. When Alice says she feels beautiful, I wonder if the dress came with superpowers. How did she move across the room like that? She says she's gonna learn how to be a princess, at which point I started wondering, is the Jabberwocky cave actually a portal to Earth and she is in fact the princess? Because she's taking this up really fast. An incredible transition brings us from princess lesson to drinking tea and playing croquet. And suddenly I realized that the evil wizard looks like the Pharisees from Jesus Christ Superstar, which does not mean this isn't racist. Croquet is really more of silly polo and Alice aces it. The Care Bears and friends, I don't know. I need like a quicker name for that. I don't like animals. The care animals. We'll just say Care Bears. The Care Bears will watch her while she sleeps because she's nervous, but they sit outside of her room as if Wonderland doesn't follow any rules and weird shit can't just appear in her room. Meanwhile, Tenderheart puts on a space helmet and they're like, okay, this is our third hat. We have got to be getting close. They get into a cave and the Mad Hatter's there and he sings a song about hats. And while I don't enjoy the song, I do think the animators had a lot of fun here. No AI was used to make that. They crawl through a hole and they're in this ginormous room. That's the Jabberwocky's dwelling. And the princess is in a cage, like a little Tweety Bird cage. When the Jabberwocky comes in, he squishes Grumpy and he looks so tiny. Grumpy, my beloved. Flashback to Alice and she's kidnapped by Tweedledee and Tweedledum. Who would have thought? Except that they didn't kidnap her. They kidnapped each other and also a pillow. Obviously they get in trouble. The wizard is planning to expose Alice as a fraud and then make it so she can never go home. The Jabberwocky inhales Grumpy and then sneezes him out and the princess thankfully catches him. And then he wakes up right as Grumpy is about to get the cage open. We get an action sequence of their escape, and it's close, but they do get out. Turns out the Jabberwocky had a thorn in his paw, and that's why he was being so ornery. And then the princess pulls it out, and as a thank you, he agrees to take her home. The queen goes to crown Alice, and then the wizard appears and says, you have to take the princess test. She's to go to the wasteland, climb a mountain, get water out of a well, water the sleeping garden, and have the flowers bloom. Obviously, Dee and Dum are tasked with sabotage, but Tenderheart and Lots of Heart are going to follow and sabotage the sabotage. She's scared. Obviously, the Cheshire Cat appears to her and tells her to follow her heart via song. And now she's not afraid anymore. She does the challenges and has no idea that there's somebody trying to sabotage her. And then Alice stumbles across a unicorn tangled in the brambles and gives the water to the unicorn. And everyone's like, hey, you're a real princess because you're so compassionate. We love you. You did it. But not the wizard. He says, oh, you still gotta water it. A princess's touch would be enough to make it bloom. And he really crashes out on her to make it happen. But guess what? The flowers bloomed. When we saw the princess in the cage, I realized my theory that Alice really was the princess wasn't true. Do the Care Bears stare at the wizard? And then he confesses to his plot. We found out that Alice and the princess traded spots, but we don't know when. Personally, I think it's on the way to the garden because her skirt is so nice. Maybe it was when she arrived back after giving water to the unicorn. But definitely when her skirt stopped being torn up. The new queen thanks Alice and tells her she is special. She's so special. And looking at them, looking at each other, it feels like that episode of Broad City where Alana dates someone who looks just like her. Alice is transported home and reminded to believe in herself. The Care Bears go home. And Grumpy finally gets to eat. And then he sings a song in the style of the Cheshire Cat songs, and the movie's over. There was no hugs or tugs in this movie. Or New Generation. I'm not a fan of them, so I really can't complain about that. The only lore that this one really introduced was Tenderheart and Cheer Bear living together, and even then, maybe he was just visiting for breakfast. I'm choosing to believe that he had spent the night. They live together. Doesn't have to be romantic, but they live together and eat breakfast together. I appreciate no more lore being introduced. I liked this movie. I watched it on 1.5 speed and just never gave it the chance slow, and I liked it. This one is probably my favorite. I think the Care Bears just do better when they're cramming themselves into existing fiction. Tom and Jerry did that for a while, and I like those movies. Care Bears in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory would be very funny. I give this movie 3 out of 5 magic flowers. While it is my favorite, it does not mean it's amazing. I also think at this point, having seen 4 Care Bears movies, I think Tenderheart is my favorite. Which is funny because as a kid, he was not one I was aware of at all. My favorite was Cheer Bear because she's pink and has a rainbow. And I liked Funshine because I liked saying Funshine. And we've talked about before that I thought Wish Bear was the bedtime bear, and I liked Wish Bear. Maybe they made less Tenderhearts in the reboot because he was pretty brown in these 80s ones and he's kind of orange in the reboot. Right now we're in the 3-boot and he's an orangey brown. I don't really know if I like the 3-boot. It feels very cartoony, which doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. I have to recognize that cartoons and toys used to just be like, hey, everybody has the same face, and now they get different faces. So it's just the direction toys are headed. I like the bear they do for Pride. I don't like or really understand the collabs that they're doing. I think it's just for millennial nostalgia bait, but who isn't doing millennial nostalgia bait? I'm doing it right now. And Tenderheart is in the 3-boot. I guess he just didn't appeal to me as a kid like he does now. Maybe one day I'll make a video about the patriotic bear. He was very prominent, I think, in the reboot, and I definitely had one. And it is important to note that the reboot happened in 2002. I think his release was a direct result of 9/11. If you've made it this far, thank you very much for watching my whole video. If you want more nonsense, you can follow me on TikTok or Instagram or Threads or Substack. I'm BLYHDGN on all platforms. And my goal right now is 500 followers on YouTube. When I reach it, I will write fan fiction connecting the first 2 Care Bears movies. Can't guarantee it'll be good, but I'll do it. So please like, subscribe, share, and comment which existing media you wish the Care Bears would make a movie inserting themselves into. And convince your friends to follow me so that they can be my friend too, and so that I can embarrass myself writing fanfic. Okay, bye!